Hey YouTube fam, it's Daughter of the Most High. Hope you're having a good weekend. I am. I love the summer. It's half gone already. It seems to get here so quickly, but I fill my weekends with all kinds of outdoor activities that I absolutely love. So I hope you're doing the same wherever you live and enjoying your summer despite the heat. It's been pretty hot. So I have something that I want to share with you tonight. I was listening to Glenda Lomax, and I have not mentioned her in quite a while, but I've mentioned her several times in the past and shared some of the words that she got from God regarding the end times and that sort of thing, but it's been quite a while. So Glenda it's actually Glenda, Glynda, Glenda. And she does interviews on she's got her YouTube channel and podcast. She's got a number of things. Ministry is all she does. So, and she's got a blog and everything else. So on this particular, I follow her on YouTube, but this may be a podcast as well. She is chatting with, oh gosh, where's his name? Ray Bergman, and he has a blog, and he shares about that in this particular interview. So I want to play that for you, and then I'll put the link in the description below so that you can hear all of the interview with Glenda, and then I'll also link his blog so that you can read this word that he got from God on May 13th, and I'm going to share a bit of that. And I hope this isn't too noisy because I do have my fan on. I'm someone that actually prefers not to have the air conditioning on high so the whole house is cold. I like the house cooled, and then I like to run fans because I get cold so easy. And so anyway, I hope between my fan and playing this snippet of the podcast, it's actually going to be about 5.5 minutes long, so I'll try to adjust the volume on my speakers here. So this is Glenda and Ray is just going to share about the word that he got from God on May 13th.
It's urgent now.
Sure. So about 2 months ago, on the morning of May 13th, to be exact, I had just awoken for the day around 4:30, 5-ish. And normally I sit for a moment before I go get the coffee ready. And I was just out of bed making my way to my chair and had not even wiped the sleepies out of my eyes when the Lord began to speak to me. And I heard in my spirit the white horse rides. So I paused and just sat there reflecting for a moment, and I asked, as in the white horse in Revelation 6? The Lord's reply was, "Yes, son. They are planning to come for my people." Now, for a refresh on this, on the white horse, Revelation 6, verses 1 through 2 say, "As I watched, the Lamb broke the first of the 7 seals on the scroll. Then I heard one of the 4 living beings say with a voice like thunder, 'Come.' I looked up and saw a white horse standing there. Its rider carried a bow, and a crown was placed on his head. He rode out to win many battles and gain the victory." What do you see now? When the Lord spoke this message, and because of Revelation 6 describes the seals being opened, I then inquired further in prayer to ask if these would be concurrent with one another, happening all at once or in any particular order. And the Lord began to speak as I leaned in. One leads to the next. And as my people stand firm, the enemy will attempt to create further much chaos and confusion. That's actually already happening.
That is already happening, and those are 2 of the hallmarks of Satan.
And then he went on, "I will lead those who belong to me to have many victories in this season. But as I do, the evil ones in power will attempt more control and persecution." So after this message was given to me, I continued to study Revelation 6 naturally and kept praying because I wanted to see, or I was trying to seek if he would reveal more to me, specifically what he needed to tell his people. And then so a few days later, while in prayer, he spoke to me again. "The leaders in your countries have made laws against you. These laws have been enacted now. Those telling you the need for them throw a veil of deception upon you, but their true intent is to harm you. My people must remain in me, as I am the wisdom you seek to guide you through for those not remaining in me shall perish. Hold not to the things of the past, and not the things of the earth, for these shall be lost in the coming calamities. Too many of my children are setting their hearts on a past season, while the season before you entails much destruction and lack. Think not on the past, for there is a time for everything, and these times you think of are no more. Keep your focus on me, for I will keep you in peace and safety. Cling not to the life as you have known it, but your life in me. I will provide all you need.
Amen.
We need to be focused on
Amen.
him, guys, not the storm.
Right.
So true.
So the full blog where I wrote this can be found under my most recent podcast, which is titled Time is Running Out, and that can be found at innocenceredeemed.blog. And I linked to it in that post because I had talked about it as it pertains, but I also went further in that podcast in stating how I believe we are seeing everything lining up. I mean, even with the other seals that follow and the signs to watch for. I talked about the horses getting ready to ride, and I believe they're already, they're being held back, but they're wanting to stampede. Some people believe even the red horse is starting to ride, and there are some interesting things, but I explain all that. So I recommend checking that out as the time really is running out. Just look at South Africa if you want a preview as to where things are going. There's food and water shortages, and as a result, people are panicking and letting anger control them, even going as far to attack infrastructure like electric and water facilities. It's irrational behavior.
Yeah.
I just read they are sending in 25,000 troops to help to restore order.
The human body can only go 3 days without water. And when it comes to food, when you go into a certain degree of starvation, your brain starts to change. And it actually leads to a kind of madness.
It does.
I'm thinking that's not going to be too pretty to watch.
And we're getting a front row seat to that.
Yeah.
The world, not just America, but the world is being given a glimpse into what is coming to other nations. So the time for denial is over. This will come here at some point. It's just a question of what event's going to be used to do it. And likely it's going to be blamed on a cyber attack. I mean, conveniently, Klaus Schwab, he's a well-known globalist, just announced a drill under the title of Cyber Polygon with regards to infrastructure and how it needs to be quote-unquote secured. So going back to what I just said about what's happening in South Africa, it demonstrates how fragile infrastructure really is and how dependent we are on it. And not only that, how folks will act when times get tough. And we take this as a warning because we have already seen interruptions as a prequel to that. We've already been seeing that happening this year, if you've noticed. Faith is going to be very important in the times upon us. I mean, we never know. This could be our very last podcast. And I really hope folks are downloading these because anything stored in the cloud can disappear.
Okay, I'm going to stop it there. So isn't that interesting? And again, I will, his blog is innocenceredeemedblog.blog, and I'll put that link in the description. And so when he hears from the Lord 2 months ago, May 13th, that the white horse is riding, and that's the start of the tribulation. I actually have you see that? That's just from Miss the Mark. Sorry, I bumped my screen here. This is just, it's a fold out from the back of the end time events. I'll show you. And then he also, this is Stan Johnson. So he's got this whole chart in his, on the back flap of Miss the Mark. So, and I have several of those books. So if anybody wants one, you can either go to prophecyclub.com or I can mail one to you. So it is so important for us to realize the times that we live in. Like Glenda said, now Glenda's a little bit muffled, but if you listen to that link, she's muffled all through the podcast. So sometimes you're, doing a podcast or a interview and you don't realize how the sound is, and then you let me see the length of it. It's 48 minutes. And you don't realize your sound is, she's very muffled. He's loud and clear. and she's muffled, so the things just happen. But again, none of us are professionals in this, or most of us rather, and we just have to do what we do and try for the best sound and visual that we can. The message is always the most important thing in any of our YouTube videos and podcasts. Those of us that are sharing, God's truth and just certain things that we come across that we want to share with other people. And I so appreciate YouTube for that. Again, I feel like our time is very short, that we're going to be able to sit down at the computer or on our phone. I'm a computer person. I'm a desktop. I don't do this stuff on my phone, rarely. I know that a lot of people do, but things are changing, and they're going to shut down the things of the Lord, including, YouTube and anything else that's Christian. And there's several people that have had to go over to like Rumble or BitChute, or I'm not sure I'm pronouncing that right. Yeah, so there's changes all around. That's not a big surprise. So I just encourage you to keep really, really, really let go of everything of the world at this time and take hold of everything of God. Start memorizing verses each week. We all need to do that. Important verses that we'll take comfort in, whether it's about God's provision or protection or strength or any of that kind of stuff. That's probably going to be a little bit more pertinent as we move into these times. But any word from the Lord, Philippians 4:13, I can do all things through Christ who strengthens me. And all of them will be meaningful. I like the ones where it talks about how God will see us through difficult times, or provide for us when we're challenged. Who knows what that looks like? I mean, here we are, all like basically middle class people that have always had lights and water and air conditioning and heat and food and hot coffee and cold water, and we've been pretty comfortable and blessed in that way, most of us. And so the days are coming when that won't necessarily be the case. Glenda, before we got to the clip that I played, started at the 20-minute mark. Prior to that, Glenda was talking about someone that she knows that her work is forcing or mandating the vax, and if they don't get the vax, then they will not be welcome to work there anymore. And that's happening more and more. So we all have to be prepared for when that memo, that email comes across our desk or our computer. And we just have to prepare in these times so that we're ready. Now, that doesn't mean we can't work someplace else that isn't mandating it, but we're probably not going to make the money that we're making at our, main employment. So it'd be wise to save some money at this time for when that day does come, and depending on what kind of employment we find thereafter. So just wanted to share this with you, family, and just to encourage you to continue to build up in the things of the Lord, and continue, if you are hanging on to anything of the world. It almost seems like we don't even need to say that anymore. There's nothing to hang on to. What is there? There's nothing. Our whole life, our attention, our energy, our efforts are all the things of the Lord, along with our employment and kids and the things that we do. And then for me, I love to get out and just enjoy the summer, and ride my bike and put my feet in the river or the lake, that kind of just simple stuff that's just good for my soul and also helps me feel good. Being in the sun and getting some exercise and that sort of thing. There isn't much else that any of us are participating in outside of just kingdom business. That's our lives. If you have not yet let go of the things of the world, if there's things that, maybe you're just vegging out on watching Netflix or something like that, I just encourage you to really let go of anything that is taking up your time and energy and focus, and move that over to the things of the Lord. The book of Revelation is the study that I'm doing in my very small Facebook group, and I encourage you. The teaching that we are following is Tom Bradford. His YouTube channel is Torah Class. He does 1-hour teachings. There's 52 of them. He's very thorough. He's very knowledgeable. They're so good. So I'm gonna, when I get done with this video, I'm gonna finish up lesson 8, which is actually chapter 2 in Revelation. He's talking about the churches, the letters to the churches. And then every Sunday I post 2 more, lesson 9 and 10. It'll be, well, it's technically Sunday now, but it's Saturday night, like past midnight. So tomorrow when I get up, I'll do that. So anyway, just wanted to share this with you. Look for the links in the description box. Again, that was Glenda and Ray Bergman and the word that he got from the Lord on May 13th. So enjoy the rest of your weekend, fam, and I will see you very soon.